Have you ever wondered why Playtime toys never escape the factory? It's a question that has crossed everyone's mind, yet no one has been able to crack the case. Today, we have not only solved this question but discovered an even darker secret about the Playtime factory. In the beginning of Chapter 1, the player receives a letter telling them to come find the missing staff, which prompts them to return to the factory after a decade. It seems pretty straightforward, right? Well, let's take a look outside the game files for a minute. Did you know that before the game's release, the devs had a different introduction in mind? In their Discord server, they shared this text that was later scrapped. You are an ex-employee for Playtime Co. 10 years ago. Playtime was the king manufacturing industry. One morning, feeling ill, you decided to take a sick day. The next morning when you show up for work, military vehicles guarded the outside of the building. Apparently, while you were sick, every single person inside the factory vanished into thin air. Now, 10 years later, you return for a visit. What does this tell us? After the hour of joy, military vehicles were positioned outside of the factory. If you were a carnivorous toy that just killed over 100 workers, would you step foot outside to be captured? In order to survive, the toys would have had to remain inside the facility. I know what you're thinking. Well, what about after the military left? When the player returns to the facility, there aren't any vehicles mentioned at all. Huggy Wuggy would have had the perfect opportunity to escape after the hour of joy, but he doesn't attempt to do it again despite having tried it before. Why? If we dissect the video of Huggy Wuggy's escape from 1992, we can learn a few interesting things. We can see at the end of the VHS tape, Huggy standing in front of a house hiding in the shadows. This tells us a great deal about his inner personality. He probably felt safe standing next to a family's home. Huggy Wuggy could have attempted to escape in order to return to a place his orphan soul had felt safe. But that safety is short-lived, as he's chased, tranquilized, and forced back to the place where he was experimented on. Huggy Wuggy could very well be too scared to step foot outside the factory again. We also learned from the VHS tape that Huggy Wuggy was able to escape without security noticing. This would have been hard without some help, the prototype's help. Huggy Wuggy's original objective has no doubt been influenced by the prototype. He undoubtedly wants to leave the factory, but prior negotiation seems to be keeping him there. What if Huggy Wuggy and the prototype were working together from the beginning? If that's true, after the hour of joy finally occurs, Huggy Wuggy may still have directives from the prototype. And he might not be the only one who's forced to stay at the factory because of the prototype. In fact, the prototype is actively preventing the toys from leaving. When the player stumbles across the kickin' chicken cutout, it says, "I've never been outside before. Will you come with me? I'll step out first." Followed by a scream which insinuates that he's killed. Poppy also says, "He'll kill you before you even reach the front door." The prototype promised freedom to the toys after the hour of joy. Some toys were probably fearful and were waiting for the next set of instructions from 1006. Others, like CatNap, may have been loyal to the prototype for saving their lives. Just like Huggy Wuggy, CatNap is another abomination that resulted from experiments under the Bigger Bodies initiative. CatNap's real name is Theodore and he was created in order to keep the other orphans in Playcare from leaving. But why? Well, when CatNap was still just an orphan, he himself had tried to escape Playcare. Similar to the incident with Huggy Wuggy, Theodore had some help from the prototype, his imaginary friend. Theodore was able to steal a Grab Pack 2.0 and a green Grab Pack hand. However, because he was still so young and inexperienced, Theodore electrocuted himself with his green hand. While the prototype had wanted to escape with Theodore, he lost his chance because the young boy needed immediate medical attention. The prototype brought Theodore to the scientists, which ended up saving the boy's life. That seems to go against what we know about the prototype, doesn't it? If the prototype's goal is to kill all who leave the facility, why did he try to save Theodore and give up his own chance at escaping? The prototype wanted to escape with Theodore. But after seeing how much harm Playtime Co.'s experiments were doing, he could have changed his objectives. The prototype may have wanted to free the orphans from Playcare initially. However, he saw how dangerous it was when he tried to leave with Theodore and had no choice but to stay at the factory. When the orphans were turned into toys, 1006 gained a new goal. He would not be able to give them their lives back as human children, but he could allow them freedom within the facility. Knowing they would never be able to live normal lives again, the prototype could have ultimately decided that ending their lives altogether was the most merciful thing he could do. Why do we think this? Well, when Theodore was turned into CatNap, his relationship with the prototype never ceased. In fact, CatNap became even more loyal to 1006. He was given the task to eliminate the player, and CatNap continued to try his best until he was defeated. The player ends up electrocuting CatNap in the same way Theodore Grambell was electrocuted as a child. In the cutscene, we see the prototype's hand stretch out from the vent while CatNap willingly turns and offers himself up to his old friend. This time, there are no scientists around to save Theodore, so the prototype has to take matters into his own hands and decides to end his friend's suffering with a mercy kill. Considering the history that CatNap and the prototype have, it is no surprise that they had remained loyal to the very end. If you choose to believe that there is no good in the prototype's intentions, then this outcome can go a lot differently. The prototype may want all of the toys dead because killing them makes him more powerful. In Chapter 2, when Mommy Longlegs is being crushed by the grinder, she screams, "He'll make me a part of him." This implies that when a toy dies, the prototype takes parts of their bodies and adds it to his own. Not only that, but the toys are aware of it happening. This could explain why some of them are too scared to oppose the prototype and leave the factory. If they die, he may add their bones to his collection. Just look at the human ones inside of 1006's hand. You may now be wondering about Poppy herself, because if the prototype wanted to kill all the toys, then why didn't he attempt to kill Poppy? All the prototype did was trap her in a case in her original room. Now, does the prototype do this because he wants her to suffer, or is it because he can't kill Poppy? In Poppy's maintenance tape, we can infer that she does have some organic materials inside her, which is why when her vocal box is removed, it's covered in blood. While she may have not been a part of the Bigger Bodies initiative, she may very well have been a human at some point. However, we may not know for sure until the next installment of Poppy Playtime. Now, why do you think the toys haven't escaped the Playtime factory? Which theories do you agree with? Let us know in the comment section below, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe for even more interesting Poppy Playtime content. See you guys soon.